What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Monday night DFS picks for the Ravens going against the Colts. And yeah, should be a decent game. It's a 46.5 point total where the Ravens are 7-point favorites. Can't wait to get into it, break it all down, and see who does stick out on this slate. Before I get started, if you guys can please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already so you don't miss out on all the other content throughout the week. That'd be much appreciated. Appreciate all the likes. They do go a long way. So I say we start up top, and up top is going to be Lamar Jackson, sitting at 12,600. And yeah, it's really hard to get away from Jackson this week. He has that rushing yard upside. It was a couple weeks ago where he had that 107-yard rushing game against the Chiefs. And you're going to get rushing attempts. He had 7 in both week 4 and 3. And then he had 16 rushing attempts in week 2 and 12 in week 1. So you can expect that from Lamar Jackson, the rushing yard upside there. Maybe not the most accurate passer in the world, but he does throw the ball a lot. He does run the ball a lot. And against the Colts, I think it's a pretty solid matchup here. So give me Lamar Jackson at this price tag. It's really hard to get away from on this slate, especially. Like typically on showdown slates, you want to get the quarterback. So Lamar Jackson is a quarterback and a running back all into one. So I think Lamar Jackson is probably going to be in pretty much every single one of my lineup for the most part, and he will be the highest owned on the entire slate, and for a really good reason. Marquis Brown, he is pretty expensive. I don't love the price tag, but Brown does have that boom upside, right? We saw in week 2 against Kansas City, he had 26.3 DraftKings points in week 1. He had 19.4 DraftKings points in week 4. He had 19.1. A little bit more on the expensive side for Brown, but I definitely do think he's in play if you can go up and get him. We'll talk about some value that's on the slate as well, and Brown's definitely somebody that I don't hate going up and getting him. I think the matchup's pretty solid here. But yeah, it does seem a tad overpriced though. Going down to Carson Wentz, who is 10,200. And yeah, typically quarterbacks are very important on the slate, but it's kind of hard, getting to Carson Wentz. I mean, he's throwing the ball at least 30 times in the first 4 weeks, but the production has just not been there. He has not got 20 points yet on the year, and it's not a great matchup against the Ravens here. They are projected to be trailing. They are 7-point dogs, so they're going to be passing the ball more than likely. I think Wentz is in play because it's a showdown slate. All quarterbacks will be in play for the most part, but I'm just not overly excited about getting to him. But I'll have some Wentz there. Jonathan Taylor, quickly, not much interest from me, especially in this negative game script. 7-point dogs. I can see Hines getting a lot of usage, and you want to be playing Jonathan Taylor when they are projected to be winning, out ahead, running the ball. I just don't see that happening. I can see it be like like the Tennessee game where he had 8.2 DraftKings points, or like the Rams game, 6.3, something like that. Probably pretty much touchdown dependent. He has 1 touchdown on the year. Don't really like it at all. Jonathan Taylor, not this price tag. Pittman though, I do like Pittman. He has 9,000. I like Pittman. I like Pascal as well. He's getting a ton of targets. He had 12 targets in both week 2 and week 3. Negative game script, they're going to be passing the ball. They're going to be trailing. I think Pittman is going to definitely benefit from that. I like Pittman quite a bit at this price tag. Going down to Zach Pascal, same thing. I think he's getting a lot of targets as well. I think he's fine. I'd rather prefer Pittman, but I think Pascal is definitely in play also, averaging 12.3 DraftKings points, has 3 touchdowns on the year. I think Pascal is definitely in play. But yeah, so far I like Jackson a ton. I like Brown. Wentz is okay. And then Pittman, especially at 9,000. Probably one of my favorite Colts players in Michael Pittman. And then there's another one I really do like we'll talk about soon. All right, going down. Yeah, this one's interesting. We have Latavius Murray, who is operating as the Ravens' #1 running back. And he had 18 carries last week. So I think he's in play. I think he's probably touchdown dependent, which he did score a touchdown last week, only scored 11.9 DraftKings points. I'm going to have some Murray for sure. I don't hate the price tag. If he's going to get 18 to 20 touches in a positive game script where they're projected to be 7-point favorites, I think you can't really ignore him. But I think the upside is a little bit limited. But at 7,400, you don't really need a ton. Say like a touchdown, it could do it. So I think Murray's somebody to consider, but not in love with it. But what I do like is Mark Andrews' price tag, 6,600, which doesn't really make much sense. He's got at least 5 targets in all 4 of his games thus far, averaging 11.6 DraftKings points. Just does not make sense at all. I mean, I think Mark Andrews and Marquis Brown, they should be priced a lot closer. I think Brown should be priced more than him, but not like this far away, right? Like Brown's priced up near 11,000, where Andrews is just way too cheap, sitting at 6,600. Where he's going to get, probably about the same amount of targets, probably not the same amount of upside, but the price tag makes no sense to me. So I think Mark Andrews is probably one of the best mid-range plays on the slate. I like him quite a bit. Going down, we got the backup quarterbacks there. Sammy Watkins. So the big thing here is Bateman might play. Bateman might play. If Bateman does play, I have no interest in Sammy Watkins. If Bateman does not play, I will have some interest in Sammy Watkins. At least 7 targets in the 4 games he's played, 7 in a row. That's pretty big at this price tag. He's had 4 receptions in all 4 games. So, yeah, I think Sammy Watkins will indeed be in play if Bateman does not play this week. But if Bateman does play, my interest for Sammy Watkins will not be there. But, yeah, Sammy Watkins, 5,800. Got to wait for the Bateman news, and we'll talk more about Bateman as we go along. Next, we have Hines, who I definitely think is in play for sure, especially considering the game script. They are 7-point dogs. 5,600. Hines is somebody that I do like quite a bit. We saw him get 6 targets in week 3. Saw him get 8 targets in week 1. I can kind of see a situation like that where they fall behind. They're passing the ball, and Hines is heavily involved in that passing game. And I could see him, get a solid game there. So I think Hines is interesting in this mid-range, just considering the game script, right? 7-point dogs. If they are trailing, I think he's going to be used quite a bit, and I do expect him to be trailing. So Hines is somebody that does stick out. Mo Alley-Cox, definitely on the more expensive side. I think he's a little bit overpriced here. He did have a 2-touchdown game last week, but outside of that, right, week 1 is 0 points, week 2, 2.8, week 3, 3.4. I think he's, purely touchdown dependent. So, yeah, if he has another two touchdown game, yeah, it'll be optimal, but it's really hard to see that happening, really hard to project that as well. So, not much interest in Mo Alley-Cox, to be honest. I think that line, or the price, is a little bit too high there. Duvernay, no thank you. Ravens D, no thank you. I don't really think you need to go to defenses this week, except, the Colts are pretty cheap. They're at 3,200. I think the Colts could be interesting, but you're going to need interceptions, which could happen, which very well could happen. Maybe a touchdown, which could happen. So I think the Colts D, if anything, just due to the price. I don't know if I get up to the Ravens defense. Tucker's, I think, in play. He's averaging 12 DraftKings points per week. One of the best, if not the best, kicker in the league. Justin Tucker is a beast. I think Tucker is definitely in play at 12 DraftKings points on average, had 13 in week 4, 17 in week 3. If he scores 17 at this price tag, there's a good chance that he is optimal. Other than that, not a ton sticks out down here. There's some good plays that stick out, way below. Le'Veon Bell, no thank you. Jack Doyle, no thank you. He's cheap, but not really getting a ton of targets as of late. 8 targets in week 2, but I'm not overly interested in Jack Doyle at 2,600. Touchdown dependent. If he scores a touchdown, yeah, he'll be probably in the optimal lineup, maybe at 2,600, but hard to project that. I think he's okay. Williams, no. Prochet, if Bateman does play, then no. If Bateman is out, then potentially Prochet could be interesting, right? 6 targets last week, 5 receptions. Looks like he's stepping right into that wide receiver 3 role. So Prochet, if he had this price tag, I think is fine if Bateman is indeed out. But we'll go down to some value plays here because we're going to need some value if we want to go up and get Brown, Lamar Jackson, Pittman, guys like that. Marlon Mack, I think, is in play. So he had 10 attempts last week. Also had 2 targets, 1 reception. He's very cheap, $600. For that reason, he's in play, right? $600, you don't need much. So if he does get 10 carries, 2 targets, I'd be very happy with that at $600. So I think Marlon Mack is definitely in play. And then finally, we do have Rashad Bateman here, who is very cheap, $200 minimum. If he is active, I think he's going to be a very popular play, and rightfully so, because he's basically free, and it allows you to go up and get Lamar Jackson, allows you to go up and get Brown, allows you to go up and get Wentz, Pittman, Pascal, guys like that. So I think Bateman, this is going to be very important in terms of the slate here. If Bateman does play, I think he's a phenomenal play. I think he's a phenomenal play at $200. You don't need much. Probably not going to get a ton of work, but he's $200. He's $200. I can see him getting a couple catches with which at $200, that's probably all you need there. So yeah, that's about it. Just to recap, very cheap plays in Bateman and Mack do really stick out. Prochet, if Bateman is out, is very cheap, $1,000. He sticks out to me. I think the Colts defense, if you're trying to punt a defense, I think that's fine as well, depending if Bateman does play or does not play to open up some value. I think Tucker's in play in terms of the kickers. Wouldn't get to the Ravens defense all that much. I think Hines is in play just due to the game script. Sammy Watkins is definitely in play. If Bateman does not play, Sammy Watkins, I like him. But a lot of things come down to this Bateman news. Andrews, I like him a lot at the price tag. I think he's a phenomenal play at that price tag there. Murray's okay. Pittman, I like a lot. Pascal's okay, but Pittman is probably my favorite Colt today. Jonathan Taylor, no thank you. Wentz is okay. It's a quarterback on a showdown slate. He's in play, but don't feel overly great about it. And then Brown has that boom upside that you're looking for on a showdown slate. And then Jackson is going to be in pretty much every single one of my lineup. So, yeah, that's been it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe. Let me know what player you guys like if I missed anything. And, yeah, good luck on this Monday night slate. We'll see you later. See you guys.